Number 10. Lindsay Lohan. She was once the youngest and one of the highest paid Hollywood superstars who became a millionaire before being an adult. Fans remember Lindsay from her iconic role in Mean Girls, and she was once so successful in the industry that her net worth had skyrocketed to approximately $40 million. But today her net worth is around $800,000. So what happened? Long story short, she was living way above her means. Her extravagant spending habits reduced her net worth from millions to thousands. She was also pretty careless, and in 2006 she was reported to have misplaced one of her expensive handbags with $1 million worth of jewelry still inside the bag. She also tried to keep up with a party lifestyle and struggled with addiction from a young age. She ended up spending large amounts every week on her habit alone, which unfortunately lost her a lot of film roles as her habits started affecting her work. Unpaid taxes were another reason why she got tangled in legal issues. In 2012, Lohan owed a massive amount of around $233,000 in due taxes, and there are other forms of debt too, like a $100,000 bill for a limousine company. Number 9. 50 Cent. Not long ago, 50 Cent was one of the richest rappers in the hip-hop industry, second only to the billionaire Jay-Z. At the height of his wealth, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson was said to be worth $155 million after tax, according to Forbes' annual hip-hop's wealthiest artist list. In fact, he's been on the same list every year since its inception in 2007. But a flailing music career, several legal battles, and poor business investments plummeted his net worth by a whopping $200 million, forcing him into bankruptcy with a debt of $32.5 million. So what happened? Well, it really came down to reckless spending and the various lawsuits that he faced throughout his career, but also several of his investments went badly and lost a lot of value during the 2008 recession, and he eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2015. According to TMZ, he struck a deal to pay $23 million in debts over 5 years. The filing came several days after a court ordered him to pay $7 million to Lastonia Levinson, whose sex tape he posted online without her consent. But despite being debt-free today, it seems like 50 is still in need of cash and regularly rants about being owed money on social media. So it's possible that he never fully recovered from his financial woes. Number 8. Kim Basinger. In the 80s and 90s, with her old-school Hollywood glam, Basinger was everywhere at one point, with starring roles in movies like Batman, Never Say Never Again, and LA Confidential. But a series of terrible financial decisions left the once wealthy A-list actress practically destitute. So how exactly did such a popular and wealthy celeb end up in this dire state? Well, in 1989, Basinger paid $20 million for the town of Brazelton, Georgia. Yeah, she really bought a whole town. But it should come as little surprise that the purchase turned out to be a pretty terrible idea. Although she saw it as an investment and planned on turning the town into a tourist attraction by building a theme park, her dreams never materialized. Eventually, she sold it for a measly $1 million in 1993, making a staggering loss of $19 million. The bankruptcy was huge news at the time, and the actress also went through a messy divorce with her ex-husband Alec Baldwin, leaving her $3 million out of pocket, and she was sued by producer Carl Mazzaconi for backing out of an oral contract to star in a film. But despite being crazy broke, Basinger's finances have stayed out of the headlines for the last 15 years. Number 7. Nicolas Cage. The 58-year-old made his money by being one of Hollywood's highest earning actors and starring in iconic films like Con Air and Ghost Rider. In fact, he made $40 million in 2009 alone. But he eventually went into extreme debt after spending obscure amounts on his fortune on some insane stuff like a $67 million Tarbosaurus dinosaur skull for $300,000, or the 11th century Bavarian castle in Germany for $8 million. In 2006, he also bought a haunted house that belonged to serial killer Madame Delphine Laurie for $3.45 million. But these spending habits really caught up with him, and by the time he was 40, he was flat out broke. Cage tried to blame his money manager for sending him, quote, down a path of financial ruin. But it didn't help that in 2009, the IRS came knocking and claimed that the actor owed them $6.2 million in property taxes. But according to GQ, Cage officially finished paying off all his debts last year after signing on to star in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Although his net worth is leagues away from where it used to be, a comeback onto the big screen could change that. Number 6. Lena Headey. The actress played Cersei Lannister on Game of Thrones and had a very successful career even before landing a role in the series. She was in iconic films like Terminator, The Sarah Connor Chronicles, and 300. However, her bank account was reduced to just a few dollars after her divorce, as a legal battle really took everything she had. In fact, Lena had less than $5 in her bank account when the divorce happened, and she was surviving on credit cards to pay for herself and her 2-year-old son's living expenses. After 8 seasons of Game of Thrones, she was doing well again and her net worth skyrocketed to $12 million. But it seems that the 48-year-old just cannot get out of financial trouble and is now being sued for $1.5 million by her former agency over alleged unpaid commission fees for the 2022 Marvel movie Thor: Love and Thunder. The agency alleges that Lena owes them $500,000 from her salary on the superhero flick and at least $300,000 for the mystery drama called 9 Bullets, as well as $650,000 for the Showtime series Rita. So hopefully she can get herself out of the lawsuit, but it could land the actress right back into another dire financial situation. Number 5. Mike Tyson. The heavyweight champion made more than $700 million from his boxing fights alone and was one of the highest paid athletes of all time. At his peak, his net worth was estimated to be more than $340 million. So what happened? Well, the New York Times described Tyson's bankruptcy as a lesson in ways to squander a fortune. So you can pretty much guess. The boxer spent his wealth on cars, jewelry, mansions, and also paid for some unusual services. In fact, in 1996, he paid a camp aide named Crocodile $300,000 to dress in fatigues and repeatedly shout guerrilla warfare at his news conferences. Tyson also paid $2 million for a golden bathtub and 3 Bengal tigers, which reportedly cost him $71,000 per tiger, and a further $70,000 on their maintenance and diet. He even had to hire an animal trainer that cost him $125,000. As a result, Tyson fell deeply into debt despite his immense earnings and was forced to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2003, reporting that he was a whopping $38.4 million in debt before returning to jail and checking into rehab. His net worth is now a fraction of what it used to be at around $10 million, but he's managed to reach financial stability again and seems to be doing well for himself. Number 4. Toni Braxton. The R&B singer has been making hits since the 90s and is mostly known for love songs and songs about heartache. But Toni Braxton is also very well known for her immense financial troubles over the years. After selling 15 million copies of her second album in 1996, fans were confused when she filed for bankruptcy, claiming that she had an astounding $50 million in debt. Everyone was confused because at the time of the filing, she had sold out world tours and millions of albums. Well, it turns out that she was suing her record label to terminate her recording contract because she was only receiving 33 cents per album, making it impossible for her to make money from album sales. Her career continued to soar after her messy legal battle, and she eventually became the headlining act of the Flamingo Hotel's casino, which seemed to be going great until it wasn't. The singer collapsed on stage during a show in 2007 and was hospitalized immediately after. She told ABC News in 2012, quote, "The Vegas show, I just renewed my contracts with all my vendors, and then a month later I got sick. I couldn't work and could not afford to pay them back." She was forced to file for bankruptcy a second time, but has since been able to turn her situation around by starring in her own reality TV show, Braxton Family Values. Number 3. Sydney Sweeney. At 24 years old, the Euphoria actress scored her first 2 Emmy nominations for roles in not one but 2 acclaimed HBO series. She has also started her own production company, 50/50 Films, and in the past year worked as an ambassador for many high fashion brands. But Sweeney recently revealed in a Hollywood Reporter interview that she still feels the financial pressure of paying her monthly bills, admitting that she was worried if she took a break from work, there would be no money and no support for any potential children that she would have. Quote, "If I wanted to take a 6-month break, I don't have income to cover that. I don't have someone supporting me. I don't have anyone I can turn to pay my bills or call for help." Although she's doing incredibly well for her age and her net worth is reportedly around $5 million, she claimed that actors don't get paid like they used to, and explained why she's experiencing financial strain. Among other reasons, Sweeney says that streaming sites don't provide residuals and claimed that paying her publicist every month costs more than her mortgage. She admitted that if I just acted, I wouldn't be able to afford my life in LA. And she also said that she takes several deals because she has to. So it seems that even working actors can wind up broke. Number 2. Amber Heard. The actress is known for her roles in several films, including the DC Comics Aquaman movie, but these days her name is synonymous with her now ex-husband Johnny Depp. Despite appearing in DC's Aquaman and making around $1 million, which is her highest paid role to date, Heard's total net worth is estimated to be minus $6 million. Why? Well, it's safe to say that she faced financial trouble after the highly publicized defamation trial brought against her by her ex-husband. But her situation has been looking much worse post-verdict. The actress was ordered to pay Depp $10 million in compensation and $5 million in punitive damages after a jury said that she defamed him. The judge later capped the damages at the Virginia maximum of $350,000, minus minus the $2 million that Depp was ordered to pay Heard, which means she owes him a total of $8.35 million. But the issue is that she has a reported net worth of only $3.5 million, making her officially broke. And if you thought things couldn't get any more downhill, she is unable to file for bankruptcy to wipe away the charges. This might have otherwise been an option for her, but the award is not dischargeable because punitive damages are never deductible or dischargeable. So there's no doubting the fact that she is broke. Number 1. Aaron Carter. You'd think earning millions of dollars before you turn 18 would set you up for an early retirement, but that never seems to be the case with child stars. Aaron Carter became a star in his own right very early on, reportedly amassing an estimated net worth of millions of dollars. He told Oprah, quote, "I made over $200 million in my career before I even turned 18 years old." As a result of his fame and fortune, his family lived very well on a massive compound with 12 houses on it, which Carter claims was worth over $10 million. But as a teen, he started getting into trouble with the law, which totally ruined his wholesome reputation and eventually affected his ability to make records. Quote, "Labels were like, 'We don't want to touch you. You're dead and gone. There's no more Aaron Carter.'" The star said he tried to rebuild his image when he realized the consequences of his actions, but it was too late. By the time he was 18, Aaron was already broke and had to declare bankruptcy in 2013 with $2 million of debt. At the time, he was left with only $917 in his checking account. He's managed to get back on track somewhat since then, and the now 34-year-old has a net worth of $400,000.
Coming in at number 10, Donald Trump. We're starting off strong with this list. President Donald Trump regarded his business experience as one of the main reasons he was the right choice for president. Well, however, while Trump has never declared bankruptcy, his companies have gone bankrupt 6 times. The first was in 1991 when his Trump Taj Mahal casino in Atlantic City went bust. Several more went bankrupt in 1992 and 2 more went down in 2004 and 2009. Following the final bankruptcy, Trump stepped down as chairman of Trump Entertainment Resorts and reduced his share in the business to just 10%. To quote Trump himself, "I've cut debt. By the way, this isn't me personally, it's a company. Basically, I've used the laws of the country to my advantage, just as many others on top of the business world have." Sure, Jan, sure. Coming in at number 9, Kim Basinger. Kim Basinger is an actress, singer, and former fashion model. She even won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress in LA Confidential back in 1997. However, following the peak of her success, the actress found herself in dire financial straits after she backed out on an agreement to appear in the film Boxing Helena and was in turn ordered to pay $8.1 million to Mainline Pictures as a result. This ultimately led Basinger to declare bankruptcy. Among the assets that were liquidated was the town of Braselton, Georgia, a tiny town which she and other investors had bought with the idea of turning it into a tourist attraction. Her share of the town was eventually sold. Coming in at number 8, 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a singer, songwriter, rapper, actor, television producer, entrepreneur, and investor. The star broke out as a rapper in the late 1990s, but he seems to make most of his money from a diverse business empire. In 2015, 50 Cent was reportedly $32 million in debt while caught up in lawsuits and unpaid child support, and in 2016 he declared bankruptcy. In 2018, reports stated that 50 Cent was all of a sudden a millionaire again because of the 700 bitcoins he was reportedly paid on his 2014 album. However, the singer later reported that these rumors weren't true and that he has never owned bitcoins in his life. Coming in at number 7, Larry King. Larry King is a television and radio host whose work has been recognized with awards including 2 Peabodys, an Emmy Award, and 10 Cable ACE Awards. You would think the TV personality would be set for life, right? Well, you're not completely wrong. For a period of time though, particularly in the 70s, King wasn't doing so hot. Even when he was given his own talk show, the money didn't seem to last considering how many times he was married and then divorced. Alimony payments of course took a toll on the star, leaving him close to penniless. As of right now, he is doing a lot better, but he's still not doing as well as you would expect. Coming in at number 6, Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is a musician, actor, and activist best known for Red-Headed Stranger and Stardust. However, Willie has not been playing by the rules. Unlike most of our list, was avoiding federal taxes, and the IRS came knocking, looking for $16.7 million, including interest and penalty fees. He managed to negotiate the bill down to $6 million, but Nelson still couldn't pay the fine, so in 1990, the IRS raided his home and seized almost everything he owned, including 20 properties and most of his instruments. Who needs 20 properties? I just need one. Nelson ended up recording the IRS IRS tapes Who Will Buy My Memories, and fans in turn organized fundraisers to help the singer out of his debt. With the help of the tapes, he managed to pay off most of the debt, which is amazing. Wish someone could pay my debt. But no, I'm not Willie Nelson, am I? Coming in at 5, Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson is an actress, model, and animal rights activist, best known for her appearance in Playboy magazine, as well as for her work on the television series Home Improvement and Baywatch. After her long career and cameos she's had throughout those years, you would have thought Pamela would be set for life, at least a little bit. However, that is not the case. From the plastic surgeries to her expensive home and party lifestyle, she quickly became noticed by the IRS for failing to pay her taxes. Classic. This in turn put the actress in a huge amount of debt for a while before she slowly began to climb her way back out. People pay taxes, it's not that hard, especially if you're making millions. Get a savings account, put some money in it, and then you don't have to worry. Coming in at 4, Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser is an actor best known for playing Rick O'Connell in the Mummy trilogy, as well as for starring in works such as George of the Jungle, Looney Tunes, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. However, the actor has seemingly disappeared, not just from Hollywood, but from the public eye in general. Although he did star in the action series Doom Patrol. For a period of time you would have thought that Fraser was overloaded with cash. Unfortunately, Hollywood will barely touch him now. And as of right now, he has to take anything that comes his way just to pay child support, because as of right now, the actor is extremely broke. I'm sorry, Brendan. That sucks. Coming in at number 3, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is an actor, director, producer, martial artist, and author who is known for works such as White Men Can't Jump, Demolition Man, and of course the Blade trilogy, in which he plays Blade. He's also all seemed to be going well for Snipes until he decided not to pay his taxes, which amounted to $12 million owing to the IRS. Snipes ended up serving his time for tax evasion up until 2013, and since then has only starred in a handful of notable action flicks, including The Expendables 3. Rumor has it this was actually a favor from Sylvester Stallone. What a good friend. Coming in at number 2, Courtney Love. Courtney Love is a singer, songwriter, and actress known for being the lead singer of her band Hole, which she formed back in 1989. I loved the band. However, over the years, Love has drawn public attention for her uninhibited live performances and confrontational lyrics, as well as her highly publicized personal life following her marriage to Kurt Cobain. Gone too soon, RIP. Of course, Cobain was considered a god among musicians back in the day, and in turn Love profited off of that fame. A serious drug problem and overspending led to major financial woes for the singer, which forced her to sell the rights to the Nirvana songs she'd gained a stake in, as well as her house. Not to mention, there are a ton of conspiracy theories surrounding the singer that she had some involvement in the death of the Nirvana frontman. And finally, coming in at number 1, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is known for some of Hollywood's biggest movies, including Peggy Sue Got Married, Raising Arizona, Moonstruck, starring Cher, Face Off, and Con Air. You would think he would be rolling in those big Hollywood paychecks, however that doesn't appear to be the case. According to Forbes magazine, Cage earned $40 million in 2009, making him one of Hollywood's highest paid actors. Unfortunately, it seems that Cage has an issue with spending, as well as an equally hefty problem with his financial advisor. After Cage faced foreclosure on several properties and the IRS came for him looking for $6.2 million, Cage sued his advisor, claiming negligence and fraud. However, in a countersuit, Cage's manager alleged that the actor had blown through at least $33 million on vintage cars, 4 luxury yachts, and 15 homes around the world. Again, no one needs 15 homes. You need one. Okay? Just get one big one. The lawsuits have been settled, but it seems that Cage is still trying to fix his financial woes, with the actor currently trying to unload several properties, including a chalet in Colorado and an entire island in the Bahamas. Who needs a whole island? No one. I don't even like the beach. Coming in at 10, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan is an actress, singer, songwriter, businesswoman, fashion designer, and film producer, best known for roles such as Mean Girls, The Parent Trap, and Freaky Friday. Now, although her wild child days are behind her, for now, Lohan still seems to be spending lengthy vacations on the Mediterranean, which is bizarre considering she has a net worth of just $500,000. A lot of money for us, but quick spending money for an actor. According to Celebrity Net Worth, Lohan skirted close to bankruptcy, but posing for Playboy and sitting down with with Oprah allegedly pulled her back into the green. For now. Coming in at 9, MC Hammer. MC Hammer is a rapper, dancer, record producer, and entrepreneur. He had his greatest commercial success and popularity from the late 1980s until the early 1990s, with most knowing him for the smash hit You Can't Touch This and Too Legit to Quit. During the 80s and 90s, MC Hammer garnered a huge fortune, putting 200 people on his payroll, buying a huge mansion, as well as a slew of other luxuries. And of course, following his spending spree, he was forced to file for bankruptcy by 1996, owing $13 million. He then went on to rebrand himself as a minister. Big moves. Coming in at 8, Gary Busey. Gary Busey is an actor known for work such as Lethal Weapon, Predator 2, Point Break, Under Siege, The Firm, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and so much more. For portraying Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story back in 1978, Busey was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor. Not too shabby. However, in 1988 he was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that left him with significant brain damage when he was just 44 years old. Following the incident though, he continued to book jobs and is perhaps one of the most prolific actors in Hollywood. So it may be shocking to hear that Busey is only worth around $500,000 today, which is yes, again, a lot of money for us, but not a lot for such a successful actor. Coming in at 7, Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton is a singer, songwriter, pianist, record producer, actress, television personality, and philanthropist. She has sold over 67 million records worldwide, including 41 million albums, making her one of the highest selling female R&B artists in history, even winning 5 Grammys along the way. She ultimately grossed around $170 million for her albums, but only made around $5 million, less than a 3% profit. Unlike many celebrities who mismanage money, she owed millions to managers, lawyers, and banks, and has been in debt ever since. Coming in at 6, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is a retired professional basketball player who once played for the Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs, Chicago Bulls, LA Lakers, and Dallas Mavericks in the NBA. He was nicknamed The Worm and was famous for his fierce defensive and rebounding abilities. Like many of the stars on our list, he had a huge problem with spending and was in the red for most of his career until recently actually. He now has a net worth of around $500,000, which is good considering he was ordered to pay $500,000 in back child support to his ex-wife in 2000. Probably in the green because he's friends with Kim Jong-un, which is weird. Coming in at 5, Sinbad. Sinbad is a stand-up comedian and actor known for movies such as Necessary Roughness, House Guest, First Kid, Jingle All the Way, and Good Burger. He reached peak fame in the 90s, however he was ultimately forced to file for bankruptcy twice. The second time this happened he owed around $11 million, most of which were due to back taxes. Always the case with celebrities, just pay your taxes. However, the comedian seemed to have no regrets and said he would never take back his spending habits, even telling Oprah he invested in me. To each their own, I guess. Coming in at 4, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is a Hollywood legend and has been nominated for 10 Golden Globe Awards, winning 1 for Best Actor for his performance of the title role in Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, which is a joke considering that film was the only DVD I threw in the bin. He is regarded as one of the world's biggest film stars, appearing in works such as 21 Jump Street, Finding Neverland, Donnie Brasco, and Edward Scissorhands. As you would expect, the actor garnered a lot, and I mean a lot of money. However, it was his spending that would eventually be his undoing. Depp filed a lawsuit against his management company, blaming them for his financial woes. In March 2016, Depp cut ties with his management company and accused them of improperly managing his money. They later went on to sue Depp for unpaid fees and countersued him for damages, alleging that Depp was responsible for his own fiscal mismanagement. In July 2018, Depp was sued yet again, this time for allegedly punching a crew member twice in the ribs during a foul-mouthed tirade. Court documents stated that the actor reeked of alcohol and took drugs on set. No surprise there. He's also a woman beater. Don't hire him. Coming in at 3, Billy Joel. Billy Joel is a singer-songwriter, composer, and pianist. Commonly nicknamed the Piano Man, he is famous for songs such as Vienna, Piano Man, and Only the Good Die Young. His music is iconic and remains popular even today. However, Billy Joel was forced to file for bankruptcy 3 times due to financial and relationship troubles. Due to 3 divorces and a brother-in-law who mismanaged his money, he ended up owing around $90 million, forcing the singer singer to go on tour to try and reclaim some of his fortune. Highly doubt he's gonna get that money back. Coming in at 2, Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper is a singer, songwriter, and actress with a career that has spanned over 40 years. She is famous for songs such as Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, Time After Time, She Bop, and All Through the Night, with Lauper earning the Best New Artist award at the 27th Grammy Awards back in 1985. Since then, Lauper has released over 11 studio albums and participated in many other projects. However, like the rest of the celebrities on our list, she encountered major money problems early on. Her band's first album tanked, and her manager in turn sued them for $80,000, resulting in Lauper filing for bankruptcy and taking a job at The Gap. She managed to turn things around though, but in recent years the success has left her as well as the money. And the fans. Though she's friends with Cher, and that says a lot. I could tell you all of Cher's friends. And finally, coming in at number 1, Meatloaf. Meatloaf is a singer and actor famous for music such as Bat Out of Hell, I'd Do Anything for Love, as well as movies such as Fight Club and of course the Rocky Horror Picture Show. More than 40 years after its release, Bat Out of Hell still sells an estimated 200,000 copies annually and stayed on the charts for over 9 years, making it one of the best-selling albums in history. So saying that, you would expect the singer to be raking in money, right? Well, apparently not. His issues arose when he failed to give proper credit to the guy who helped him out with I Would Do Anything for Love, with the co-writer suing Meatloaf and nearly bankrupting him back in the 1980s. From that point on, the singer wrote all of his own material and has made somewhat of a comeback, but he never quite recovered from the huge loss of earnings. Coming in at 10, Mark Twain. Yes, I know, Mark Twain is no longer with us, but he still has a place on our list, and you'll see why in a moment. Throughout his long career, Twain desired to become rich, and even married up the social ladder in order to make that happen. However, his dream never came true. After the success of Grant's biography and the adventures of Tom Sawyer, Twain's publishing house went bankrupt. His financial failings contributed to depression, and in 1894 Twain declared bankruptcy. However, later down the line, with more writing and popular speaking tours, Twain managed to get out of the red, but then lost around $30,000 in a protein powder investment. Which, Mark Twain, protein powder, I don't see him wanting to get them gains. Coming in at 9, Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye is known as one of the most famous musicians of all time. However, few people know that in 1976, he filed for bankruptcy after not making his alimony payments to his first wife, Anna Gordy Gaye. Then in 1976, a judge ordered Gaye to pay his ex $600,000 from his upcoming album, Here My Dear, which is pretty on the nose if I do say so myself. Then, as we all know, he was shot and killed by his father in 1984. At that time, he still owed Anna almost $300,000 in back alimony. Coming in at 8, Leif Garrett. Leif Garrett is a former singer, actor, and television personality who became famous as a teen idol in the 1970s. He was known for songs such as I Was Made for Dancing, New York City Night, and When I Think of You. However, Garrett admitted that he started using drugs when he was just 14 years old. On November 3rd, 1979, 5 days before his 18th birthday, he crashed a Porsche 914 that was being leased to his mother after a midnight party while he was driving to buy more cocaine. He was later tried a juvenile on DUI charges. His license was suspended for 1 year and he was placed on probation. In December 1984, he was ordered to pay $3.9 million, which put the singer in the red. Nowadays, barely anyone remembers who he was, particularly by people under the age of 40. That is very sad. He is still alive, so that's one. Coming in at 7, Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman was a famous child star known for roles such as Different Strokes, The Gary Coleman Show, and The Kid with the Broken Halo. During this time, he was making around $70,000 per episode of Different Strokes, but by the time the show ended, his adopted parents and business advisor had mismanaged his earnings in a huge way. Coleman struggled to find work in Hollywood following success, but eventually won a settlement against his parents, but that wasn't enough to avoid bankruptcy. After all of his lawyer's fees and investments, Coleman had to work as a security guard. He then faced major legal issues throughout the 2000s before passing away in May of 2010. Coming in at 6, T-Pain. In an interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, T-Pain opened up about his financial problems over the course of his career. He revealed that he once went from having around $40 million in the bank at the height of his career to having so little money that he had to borrow it to get his kids Burger King. I quote, "Now I know what the high end is and what the low end is. I've been mega rich, I've been super broke, right in the middle of thinking I was mega rich and then got rich again. And you know, I learned how to really give a shit about money. He has said that he is doing much better now, but he may never reach the highs he once did, simply because we've all forgotten he even existed. Coming in at 5, Wayne Newton. Wayne Newton had a slew of hits back in the 60s with songs such as I Know So, It's the Season, and Jingle Bell Rock. However, he made it big as a Las Vegas singer and was even the highest paid performer in 1983. By 1992, Newton was bankrupt, owing around $20 million. Now, he did manage to make his way out of debt, but the problems didn't stop there. The IRS then sued him in 2005 for failing to pay $1.8 million on the sale of his home. His property was then seized in 2010 for reportedly failing to pay off a $3.35 million loan, though eventually it was agreed that the property would be turned into a public attraction. However, more recently, it was closed for renovations in 2018 with no current plans to reopen, so sucks. Coming in at 4, Stephen Baldwin. Younger brother of Alec Baldwin, Stephen filed for bankruptcy back in 2009 while owing money on taxes and a handful of mortgages. Troubles then continued for the actor when his house was foreclosed in 2017 after 6 years of no mortgage payments. But wait, there's more. Baldwin was also arrested and served 5 years probation for failing to pay taxes for 3 straight years. Honestly, if these lists have taught you anything, folks, it's that you need to pay your taxes. I don't care how big or small they are. Just pay them, because they will find you, and you will go to prison for life. Coming in at 3, the Cassidys. According to People magazine, David Cassidy, the former 70s heartthrob, filed for bankruptcy in 2015 in his home state of Florida, despite selling over 25 million records during his career. The former star had a history of DUIs and health issues aside from major financial problems. However, by his third DUI, his wife Sue Cassidy filed for divorce in 2014. He was then forced to put up his mansion for auction in an effort to pay for his divorce. Sadly, Cassidy passed away in November of 2017. In 2018, a voice recording of the singer surfaced, revealing that he admitted to lying about having dementia and that his health issues were caused by alcohol addiction. Coming in at 2, Aaron Carter. It's no surprise that Aaron Carter is on our list, with the singer having a slew of issues stemming all the way back to the early 2000s. Carter is known for songs such as I'm All About You, Aaron's Party, and of course, I Want Candy. In 2016, the former star talked to Us Weekly about the financially terrible position he was in, even admitting that he had no savings. I quote, "When I turned 18, I got hit with all those taxes. I filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy last year. Now I'm already over $100,000 in debt." In 2018, the star released an album called Love and went on tour. However, both were a flop, and I doubt they're ever gonna get him in the green again. Sorry, Aaron. And finally, coming in at number 1, Michael Jackson. Now I know that the King of Pop passed away on June 25th, 2009, but there are no limitations to this list, not when we're on a part 3. You would imagine the artists behind songs such as Thriller, Black or White, and Man in the Mirror would be overloaded with fortune and wealth. I mean, he had Neverland, pretty much a wonderland in similar vein as Disney. However, due to large amounts of spending and taking out loans which he never paid back, Jackson faced a ton of money problems, particularly when he got involved in expensive lawsuits and interest on his debt increased. At the time of his death, a forensic accountant estimated that the King of Pop owed around $400 to $500 million. His estate has since resolved the financial issues, and Michael has been the top earning dead celebrity since 2012. Lucky for some, I guess. I can't even make any stats while living, so.
In at number 10, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is best known for his work in Face Off, Leaving Las Vegas, and The Rock. As of May 2017, reports say that his net worth was in the area of, $25 million. This, however, was because he took any job that came his way after accumulating a ton of debt. Cage had many homes, cars, and even rare artifacts. By 2015, though, reports started coming out that he had lost everything. From 1996 to 2011, Nick had spent $150 million. Thanks to missing a tax bill in 2007, Cage also had to pay the IRS more than $6 million. Now that his time in the sun has passed, though, he's not getting anywhere close to the money that he was early on in his career. In at number 9, Stephen Baldwin. Not every Baldwin brother can be as successful as Alec, and for Stephen, this must really be annoying considering how he just lost everything. Stephen Baldwin is best known for his roles in The Usual Suspects, Biodome, and Fred Claus, where he just plays himself, because why not? However, by 2009, Stephen had filed for bankruptcy while still owing back taxes on a couple of different mortgages, a trend that would continue to haunt the Baldwin brother. After missing mortgage payments for 6 years, his house was foreclosed in 2017. Then on a different occasion altogether, he was arrested and forced to serve 5 years probation for not paying his taxes for 3 straight years. That's a bad Baldwin. You've been a bad Baldwin. In at number 8, Kim Basinger. Kim is known for her roles in LA Confidential, Batman as Vicky Vale, and Wayne's World 2. Although in 1989, Basinger made some questionable decisions with her money. I'm not even joking, she bought the town of Braselton, Georgia for $20 million. She had an enormous amount of plans for this as well that included things such as a theme park or even a movie studio to just bring in tourism. However, by the time 1993 rolled around, she was so buried in debt that she had to declare bankruptcy and sell the property. Meaning the whole town. She had to sell the town. Not only that, but she was also sued by the producer for boxing Helena for backing out of her contract to star in the film. Yikes. In at number 7, Burt Reynolds. Back in the day, old Bertie Boy was the king of TV and film. He was the star of hit shows like Gunsmoke and even had a successful movie career from his role in Smokey and the Bandit. Although he admitted to Vanity Fair in 2015 that his spending had gotten out of control. He said, "I've lost more money than is possible because I just haven't watched it." And boy oh boy did he not watch his money. Burt Reynolds spent his movie star cash on real estate, a private jet, 150 horses, oh yeah, and over $100,000 in toupees. I don't know what's crazier though, the toupees or the 150 horses. And due to his fame dwindling away, his checks were getting lower and lower for appearances, and by 1996 he couldn't pay CBS back the $3.7 million loan that they gave him, and then he just declared bankruptcy while still being over $10 million in debt. Who's managing this guy's money? In at number 6, Brendan Fraser. When you think of Brendan Fraser, the first thing that comes to mind is the Mummy trilogy, and throughout the 1990s and into the early 2000s, Fraser was starring in many hit films. Unfortunately, his movie career came to a stop when he began finding himself in and out of hospitals for nearly 7 years. Brendan had to undergo several spine surgeries as well as have a partial knee replacement. Then, on top of all of that, he had to go get repairs done on his vocal cords. He was known for being an energetic character in his action films, but with so many injuries and health problems plaguing him, this posed a serious threat to the way that he made his money. And after his divorce from Afton Smith, his bank account was drained even further, and thanks to the way that the divorce system works in the US, his alimony payments were based on what he used to make. So he was forced to pay over $900,000 a year in alimony, even though it was more than his current annual income. Yeah, if you want to figure out how that math works, leave me a comment down below. In at number 5, Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is a prime example to bring up whenever someone tries to tell you that you don't need to pay taxes, and boy did the IRS sure make an example out of him. The actor's portrayal of the vampire hunter Blade boosted his career into the stratosphere, although reportedly someone close to Wesley told him that taxation was theft and therefore he didn't need to pay it. He listened to this person and was charged after not filing proper tax returns for 6 years. Additionally, he filed fraudulent returns that would bring him close to $12 million in tax refunds. And come 2006, he was filing for bankruptcy, and in 2008 he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for his crimes. In at number 4, Gary Busey. Before he made the move to reality television, Gary Busey was an A-list actor. During the 1970s, he was in more than 70 films, including a breakout role in the Buddy Holly story. Although with great success comes great responsibility, and Gary just wasn't ready for it. By 2012, Gary was down to his last $50,000 after developing a crippling drug addiction over the years. It was that year though that Busey also filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and along with that, he also owed a ton of money to creditors and to the IRS. And once he started appearing on episodes of Celebrity Rehab though, it was safe to say that he truly did lose everything. In at number 3, Lindsay Lohan. Beginning as a child actor, Lindsay Lohan's breakout role started in the Disney 1998 remake of The Parent Trap. Later on in her career, she would get even more fame and notoriety for the success of Mean Girls. She seemed destined for long-term success. Unfortunately, that all began to crumble as her spending habits became increasingly expensive and legal troubles started coming her way. At 18 years old, she was worth over $30 million, and much like Gary though, Lohan had started a terrible drug habit that was costing her nearly $5,000 a week. Then, between 2007 and 2013, she was arrested a few times. She was arrested for a DUI, reckless driving, just random altercations, and even shoplifting. Where are your parents? In at number 2, Johnny Depp. Or should we say Johnny Det. This one hurts a lot. According to Rolling Stone's profile on the actor, Depp has made $650 million on films that netted $3.6 billion. So he made a lot of that money. And now, almost all of that is gone. Some of it is partially Depp's fault for spending a lot of it on things like an island and other ridiculous mansions that he wanted, but Johnny believes that most of his money was lost due to poor management. He's suing the management group that is run by his longtime business manager as well as his brother Robert for negligence. The lawsuit says that under his management's watch, his sister was given $7 million and Depp's assistant was given $750,000, all without his knowledge. On top of all of that legal trouble, Amber Heard had also accused him of abuse that shattered any hope of acting in future projects. I mean, even the Pirates of the Caribbean was like, yeah, we're gonna take a break, bro. Although thankfully a leaked tape cleared Depp of any wrongdoing, but it's still going to take him a long time to work his way back to the top. Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Gary Coleman. Gary's story is one of the saddest stories in Hollywood. Gary Coleman was a child star that made $70,000 per episode for the show Different Strokes. In the 1980s, this was amazing money. Today, that's around $218,000 per episode. It's good money. However, by 1986, the show had come to an end, and unfortunately for Gary, his adopted parents and business advisor had severely mismanaged his money. Eventually, he won in a settlement against his parents, but it wasn't enough to keep him going. He then couldn't find any more work in Hollywood, and in 1999 he filed for bankruptcy. Then, to make matters even worse for poor Gary, he got a job as a security guard but kept getting recognized and teased for just trying to live out a normal life. Rest in peace, Gary Coleman.
In at number 10, Josh Duggar. This year, Josh Duggar was found guilty and will be sentenced to jail for his heinous crimes. And not only is his career gone, but his entire family has turned their back on him, rightfully so. As of now, he's not been given a sentence, but he's facing up to 40 years in prison. The former reality TV star, known as a sibling on the show 19 Kids and Counting, was sentenced and will be charged in Arkansas. I can't exactly tell you what his charges are because they are truly that terrible, but he was charged with receiving and possessing illegal content of minors. After the guilty verdict, Duggar's lawyers said that they intend to appeal it, which I hope does not get accepted. Duggar has since been taken into custody, but his sentence has not been determined. Since the guilty verdict, Josh's sister, Jana Duggar, has also been arrested on similar charges. In at number 9, Gary Busey. Gary Busey was exposed this year for being in financial ruin. He's essentially bankrupt and owes the government thousands of dollars in unpaid taxes. Thankfully, his legal battle has determined that he will not have to pay creditors that have been pushing him for payment, which amounted to roughly $57,000. He also got to keep $26,000 worth of assets. However, Busey will still have to pay the roughly $450,000 that he owes to state and federal taxes, as they are not taken away in bankruptcy cases. Busey told TMZ about going broke, quote, "When you have too much, it's a good feeling to let go. My new hobby is just breaking even." And at number 8, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin's career is on the verge of being over after he accidentally shot 2 people on the set of the movie Rust, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Following the tragedy, the movie has been trying to piece together what exactly happened to cause this to occur. Blame has been placed on the assistant director, along with the armorer, but it seems that the set was full of safety concerns almost as soon as it started, and it was later discovered that other cast and crew members walked off the set before the shooting because of safety issues. As of now, the movie itself and Alec Baldwin are being sued by a number of parties. It's difficult to say how at fault he was in the situation, but at the end of the day, he is the one that fired the bullet. Until things are sorted out, he should not work on another project again. Although now he is claiming that he didn't even pull the trigger, which some people are debating. And at number 7, R. Kelly. I've avoided talking about R. Kelly for as long as possible on the channel because his crimes are so terrible, they're hard to talk about. But after years of being in court battles, on September 27th of 2021, R. Kelly was officially found guilty on 9 charges, including charges of kidnapping, bribery, and many counts of exploitation. Kelly will remain in custody pending sentencing, which was set for May 4th of 2022. For decades, people have been coming forward against the rapper and his incredibly problematic behavior, especially towards women. Some even claim he ran a cult, where other men along with Kelly would take advantage of women in a vulnerable state. As of now, he's facing decades behind bars and is entirely blacklisted from the industry. And at number 6, Erika Jayne. Erika Jayne truly had it all. She was filthy rich, had a loving husband, and a phenomenal career as a Real Housewife. But that all came crumbling down this year when she filed for divorce from her husband, and it was exposed that her entire life was basically a fraud. Erika's husband was all-star attorney Tom Girardi, known from the Erin Brockovich case. But then police and lawyers got involved, and it was exposed that Tom was a fraud and achieved their lavish lifestyle from stealing from his clients. The fact that Tom represented orphans and widows made things even worse.
as he was stealing from people that really needed the money. Erica is now being sued left, right, and center, and she might even be facing jail time. She spent the entire season of the show fielding accusations about her involvement, but over time the fans and fellow cast members have turned on her. As of now, she's basically alone, fighting off lawsuits and criticism on the internet, and the fans of the show have definitely turned on her after the last reunion. Halfway number 5, Travis Scott. Following the tragic Astroworld Festival, it will be shocking if Travis Scott continues to have a career. At first, it looked like Kylie Jenner might be leaving him following the incident, however she's apparently standing by him ahead of their second child's birth. But fans are speculating this could be all for show, and Kylie just might leave him after the birth. It's clear that Travis is taking no responsibility for the festival that took the lives of 10 concert goers and injured hundreds of others, as he recently said he was not responsible whatsoever in his interview with Charlemagne, and claimed that he didn't know of anything that was happening. As of now, Travis is looking at billions of dollars worth of lawsuits, so at the very least he will be going broke following the tragedy. After the festival, fans realized this problematic behavior was not a one-off, and Travis had encouraged rowdy and dangerous behavior multiple times in the past. This has caused a lot of longtime fans to turn on him. And at number 4, Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was best known for his role on Empire at the time of his scandal, although he wasn't a household name. But his fame exploded to new heights when he alleged that 2 white men who were wearing MAGA hats attacked him, shouting racist and homophobic slurs. The whole world supported him and he became somewhat of a figure against racial hate, until it was revealed that it was all a lie and he actually paid 2 men to attack him. After he was exposed, he was served several lawsuits from the city themselves for faking a police report and wasting the city's time. On February 11th of 2020, Smollett was charged by a Cook County grand jury on 6 counts pertaining to making 4 false police reports, and he was of course blacklisted from the industry. He was just found guilty of his crimes and will be serving time behind bars, so his career and everything he's worked for is now gone over a stupid lie. In at number 3, Jen Shah. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City just seems to be getting better and better, and the drama with cast member Jen Shah is not going anywhere anytime soon. Weeks ago we saw Jen get arrested during the show, now we get to see Jen fighting for her freedom. Shah was arrested by the feds on March 30th of 2021 for allegedly ripping off elderly people in a telemarketing scam. She's facing charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering, with a max sentence of 30 years in prison if found guilty. Initially it seemed that Jen was tipped off that the cops were coming for her, and that's why she suddenly left the planned trip. But now she's claimed that she's completely innocent and the cops have gone after her for no reason. But the cops just don't choose someone to investigate for months and then arrest in a sting operation, so clearly they have some serious dirt on her that might put her behind bars. And at number 2, Chris Harrison. Before his huge scandal, Chris Harrison was known as the legendary host of the Bachelor franchise, but he was caught up in a major scandal in 2021 after contestant Rachel Kirkconnell was exposed for racially insensitive actions. In the midst of this, Harrison took part in an interview with fellow Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay, where he spoke about this scandal. During that interview, Harrison was very aggressive towards Rachel Lindsay and defended Kirkconnell for seemingly no reason. One of Harrison's controversial statements included, quote, "I've heard a lot of, I think she should, I think he should. Who the hell are you? Who are you to demand that?" People found his comments to be insensitive, and many said he was too quick to defend a contestant accused of racist actions. Chris ended up apologizing but was later cut entirely from the franchise, which was a huge deal to the Bachelor fans. And finally at number 1, Zayn Malik. Zayn Malik and Gigi Hadid were one of the hottest couples in Hollywood during their on and off again relationship. The pair even had a child together named Kai. But that was all taken away from him after reports that he got physical with his mother-in-law Yolanda Hadid. According to an insider, quote, "Gigi and Zayn had a very destructive relationship when they were together romantically." According to a lawsuit, Zayn, quote, "shoved Yolanda into a dresser, causing mental anguish and physical pain," after calling Yolanda a, quote, "effing Dutch slut." At the time of the altercation, Gigi was not home, but she came back immediately from Paris Fashion Week to deal with the situation. Zayn pled no contest to the charges, but later said in a statement that he adamantly denied Yolanda's claims. The pair have now split for good and are fighting for custody of their daughter, along with Zayn and Yolanda fighting in lawsuits.
Coming in at number 10, Lana Del Rey. The beginning of the end for Lana Del Rey started with a letter that was a question for the culture. At the start of the letter she posted, Lana said, "Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kalani, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, f***ing, cheating, etc., can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want, without being crucified or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse." This letter came after she was criticized for being anti-feminist and glamorizing abuse in her most recent album. However, this letter led to her being cancelled by the general public on Twitter because the majority of the artists that she mentioned were of color, which is why we saw the very punny hashtag of Lana Del Racist start to trend on Twitter. She did clarify later on that this post was not meant to be racist and that she loves all of those artists, but Twitter just wasn't having any of it. Also, before we hit our next number, I need you guys to hit that like button to show some love to the channel. And with that out of the way, coming in at number 9, Jenna Marbles. Jenna has been on YouTube for a very long time, and after multiple videos of hers blew up, she really began garnering millions of subscribers, 20 million to be more precise. Although in a video titled A Message, Jenna addressed the controversy of her older content. She apologized for the video that she made impersonating Nicki Minaj in 2011, where she donned blackface, and went on to say,
"Not my intention to do blackface. I do want to tell you how unbelievably sorry I am if I ever offended you by posting this video."
In response to the outcry on the internet to have her canceled, Jenna archived the old videos and announced that she would be stepping away from the channel. She said that she doesn't know if it's forever, but she wants to make sure that the things she puts out in the world aren't hurting anyone. Coming in at number 8, Tory Lanez. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, really gained mass popularity throughout this pandemic by constantly doing Instagram live sessions. His show was called Quarantine Radio and featured a ton of content that really broke the community guidelines of Instagram. Regardless, his fans still crowned him the Quarantine King, and with that clout around his name now, we saw Tory hanging around the likes of Kylie Jenner and Megan Thee Stallion. Which brings us to what Tory was being exposed and ultimately cancelled for. Megan was in a car with Tory Lanez and a member of his security team driving through an LA neighborhood. Apparently an argument took place that resulted in Megan deciding that she was going to get out of the car and walk to where she was staying. However, before she could do so, Tory had allegedly shot her in the foot.
Since y'all so worried about it, yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me.
Either way, Meg calling Tory out led to many of his fans turning on him, and thus another celebrity was cancelled. Coming in at number 7, RuPaul. Fans of RuPaul's Drag Race were appalled after its namesake began a controversy that suggested he was more behind the times than they initially believed. The show was created to be a forefront to celebrate the LGBTQ community, but RuPaul's comments put all that progress into reverse. During an interview he did with The Guardian, writer Decca Aikenwood was questioning RuPaul about the contradiction between his playful sensibility and the militant stance he has on the transgender movement. The writer noted that RuPaul seemed to pick his next words very carefully, but still said that he probably wouldn't have admitted a transgender woman like Peppermint if she had already started gender-affirming surgery. He went on to say, "You can identify as a woman and say you're transitioning, but it changes once you start changing your body. It takes on a different thing. It changes the whole concept of what we're doing." And because of that, he was rightfully cancelled. Coming in at number 6, Shane Dawson. After what happened to George Floyd, America went into civil unrest, and the people demanded answers from law enforcement. Along with that, however, comes the necessary task of curating our culture to get rid of the problematic people who only add fuel to the fire. Get rid of sounds awful, but what I mean is hold them responsible so that we can admit our own mistakes and move forwards as a society. The weirdest part about Shane Dawson doing blackface is that he had done it on more than one occasion, and done so in a time where we thought that people would be more tolerant and progressive. Even weirder is that when he apologized for taking his sketches too far with blackface, a bunch of his white fans were like, "Oh, we forgive you. I'm sorry to say this, but that apology wasn't meant for you." It's meant for the people that he was mocking, and I don't think letting this one slide was a wise idea. There have been many red flags with Shane Dawson, but this one should have and will be the final straw. Coming in at number 5, Sherry Pie. For RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, they were burdened by a very strong accusation against one of their performers. Contestant Sherry Pie was axed from the show after he allegedly tried to groom and catfish 5 men. He had pretended to be a casting director and asked each of the men to send in videos of them doing very degrading things. Although upon the victims doing further research into this supposed casting director, they discovered that it was all fake. The issue with taking Joey, who plays Sherry Pie, off the show though, was that Sherry had won most of the competitions, so he couldn't just be easily edited out. Sherry Pie has apologized and admitted that his behavior was terribly embarrassing. Regardless, he was disqualified from the show, and the producers did their very best to remove most of his images, giving him very minimal screen time. Coming in at number 4, Jessica Mulroney. CTV announced that they would be removing Jessica's reality show called I Do Redo because her recent conduct conflicted with the broadcaster's commitment to diversity and equality. Influencer Sasha Exter accused Mulroney of trying to threaten her livelihood. Sasha made a post about the importance of speaking out against racism, and it was oddly met with criticism from Jessica. Exter said that she was not calling Jessica racist, but said that she is very well aware of her wealth and power, along with the privilege that she is afforded due to her skin color. Apparently, Jessica took offense to Sasha simply asking her audience to support speaking out against racism. All of those comments have since been deleted, but what will stay up forever is this letter from CTV that said, "Because recent conduct by one of our show hosts, Jessica Mulroney, conflicts with our commitment to diversity and equality, CTV has removed I Do Redo from all Bell Media channels and platforms effective immediately." Coming in at number 3, Chris D'Elia. D'Elia was cancelled and had been accused of grooming and attempting to solicit nude photographs from underage underage girls. A woman named Simone tweeted out a screenshot of her alleged interactions with Chris, which began a thread of other women sharing their interactions with him as well. The stories were all pretty horrific considering that they were all allegedly underage at the time that Chris had sent these messages to them. However, in response to having his name dragged through the mud online, Chris told TMZ, "I know I have said and done things that might have offended people during my career, but I have never knowingly pursued any underage women at any point." Chris then goes on to say, "All of my relationships have been both legal and consensual, and I have never met or exchanged any inappropriate photos with the people who have tweeted about me." And regardless, he was out. In at number 2, Ellen DeGeneres. When Kevin Porter tweeted this out, "Right now we all need a little kindness, you know, like Ellen DeGeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with the most insane stories you've all heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with $2 to the LA Food Bank." And the response was overwhelming. However, for this point, let's focus in on the ones about the bizarre rules for her staff, because that alone was enough to get her cancelled. Benjamin Simon said, "Hey, she has a sensitive nose, so everyone must chew gum from a bowl outside her office before talking to her, and if she thinks you smell that day, you have to go home and shower." I mean, you have to go home and shower? Who does that? What a weird power move. You smell, so stop working for me, go home, shower, and then come back and stay late. Okay. Chelsea Babcock also said, "When I was working on At Midnight, our stage manager told us to never work for Ellen. He told us she has signs up in her office that say, 'Do not look the host in the eye.' I'm sorry, but that's far from normal. Don't look her in the eye? That's a really bizarre rule to have." Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has been tangled up in his legal battle with Amber Heard for quite some time now. The initial article from the Sun newspaper that referred to Depp as a wife beater severely damaged the actor's reputation, and as a result, we saw him being unceremoniously pulled from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. In light of the article, author J.K. Rowling defended Depp and his inclusion with her series called Fantastic Beasts. However, following the loss of his high-profile libel case against UK newspaper The Sun, Depp was forced out of Fantastic Beasts by Warner Brothers. So despite this legal battle going on for years, it was 2020 that Johnny Depp truly began to lose all of his opportunities. In at number 10, Randy Quaid. No, Randy Quaid is not preparing for some big role as the next Santa Claus. That is simply what happens when you go on the run from law enforcement for 5 years. Randy and his wife insisted that they were being hunted down by a group called the Hollywood Star Whackers, which, side note, if you're looking to start a band, there's your new name. He has repeatedly told news outlets that this group may have killed Heath Ledger and is trying to sabotage them as well. Although that wasn't the only thing that caused him to flee the United States. Randy and his wife tried to claim refugee status in Canada after declaring bankruptcy. However, the couple was arrested in 2009 after being accused of defrauding an inn in Santa Barbara. A warrant was also put out for their arrest after they skipped a few court appearances for charges of breaking into the home that they once owned. Apparently, they were squatting in the guest house without the new owner's permission. In at number 9, Natasha Lyonne. Her breakthrough into acting came at the age of 7 years old when Natasha became a regular on the show Pee-wee's Playhouse. Following that, in her late teens, Lyonne was booking acting jobs at an enormous pace. Her biggest role though was when she booked the movie American Pie. For a little while after that though, Natasha was in a horrible place. First there was the drunk driving arrest, then as the roles and interest started to fade away, reports were coming out that the star was now homeless. Additionally, she had been hospitalized with some very serious health issues that included hepatitis C, a heart infection, a collapsed lung, and methadone treatment, something that is typically only used for people who are addicted to heroin. Thankfully, she has made a complete 180 with new roles in shows like Orange is the New Black, and Natasha seems to be making a big comeback. But for a while, wasn't looking so great. In at number 8, Brett Butler. Brett is an American actress and stand-up comedian that is mostly known for her role in the comedy series Grace Under Fire. Before the show started, Butler had already been 7 years sober, but once the big money started rolling in, she relapsed and lost everything. After her show was cancelled, she moved from LA to a farm in Georgia where she resided with 15 pets. It's a lot of animals. But then when the money started to run out, she ultimately ended up in a homeless shelter. In at number 7, Margot Kidder. First things first, rest in peace Margot Kidder. She was the first famous Lois Lane starring in the early Christopher Reeve Superman films. According to Daily Finance, Margot is battling schizophrenia as well as manic depression. As you saw, Margot said she knew something was wrong but repeatedly refused help and treatment. Her career started to fall apart because of this, and before long she was sleeping in cardboard boxes in whatever LA backyard that she could find. A woman who found Margot in her backyard said that upon approaching Kidder, she was missing her front teeth and her hair had been sort of hacked off. And when asked what she was doing there, Margot apparently told the Glendale resident, "I may not look like it, but I'm Margot Kidder." Yikes. In at number 6, Danny Bonaducci. Danny was a child star with his big role coming on the show The Partridge Family. At the time, he was 11 years old and suddenly he was now starring in a hit television series. At the end of the show though, Danny had descended into drug abuse and homelessness. During an episode of his radio show in 1997, the actor admitted that for a while he was living in his car behind the Chinese theater, while at the same time he would have people approaching him for autographs, like while he was sleeping in his car. Earlier in 1990, he was arrested for attempting to buy cocaine in Florida, and then the next year he was arrested again on charges of robbing and beating a transvestite prostitute in Arizona.
You get what you deserve if you break the law, and if I'm pointing my finger at myself this time, they turned on the news really loud about me being in jail.
In at number 5, David Cassidy.
With you anymore, Dad. I don't know who you are now. That broke my heart. I can't even tell you the effect it had on me.
Again, I have to say this, rest in peace to David Cassidy. Danny isn't the only member of the Partridge Family cast that seemingly lost it all once the show ended. David Cassidy, who played Keith Partridge, had a promising career not only as an actor but as a musician as well. The 70s heartthrob had sold over 25 million records in the height of his career, but in 2015 had to file for bankruptcy. With a history of DUIs, 3 divorces, and various health problems, David had to put his mansion up for auction just to finance his final divorce. The really sad thing with this case is that a year after his death, a leaked audio recording came out where you can hear David admitting to lying about having dementia and going on to say that his health issues were a result of alcohol addiction. In at number 4, Aaron Carter. Despite being known for his music career, Aaron Carter also did a fair bit of acting early on in his career. The teen pop star though had quickly squandered the $100 million fortune that he had built after his parents had mismanaged his money. Because of this, he was put in a terrible situation when he turned 18. When he became of legal age, he was hit with a bevy of taxes owed and had to file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy after being over $100,000 in debt and owing somewhere in the ballpark of $4 million in back taxes. In at number 3, Willie Ames. I genuinely feel awful for the lives that these child stars had to go through, and Willie is no different. The former Gunsmoke star opened up during an interview in 2017 where he said that a series of poor choices mixed with drug abuse is what led to him sleeping on the streets. He said, "At one point I went from eating at the White House to sleeping in the bushes and brought myself back again." An episode of Oprah's Where Are They Now showed us that after battling addiction and homelessness, he got a job as a cruise ship director.
The guests recognize me all the time. The guests recognize me about 60 to 70% of the time. And it's really nice when they do. It's a great way to be able to welcome everyone on board.
At the peak of his career on the show 8 is Enough, Willie was making a little over $1 million per year. Then suddenly, there was no job, no bank account, no wife, no child, and just like that, it all went away. Thankfully, he looks like he's doing much better now working for the cruise ships. In at number 2, Corey Haim. Sadly, again, and this is the last time that I have to do this, rest in peace to Corey Haim. Corey was born in Toronto, Ontario and broke into the world of acting in 1984 as a child in the film Moving In. His breakthrough role would come later in 1987 when he played a major role in the Lost Boys film. However, 10 years after that film, he was filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection after citing that he owed over $200,000 in state and federal taxes. When he passed away in 2010 from pneumonia, he was living with his mother in an Oakwood apartment building. He was broke and his career was very destitute, to the point where he was even trying to sell a tooth and some of his hair on eBay just for the extra cash. It really makes you, that's the only way I can explain it. It just makes you go, Last but not least, in our number 1 spot, Pamela Anderson. When you hear the name Pamela Anderson, your next thought is usually Baywatch. That show skyrocketed her career and became one of the most watched TV shows of all time, largely because of Pam Anderson. It was watched by over 1 billion people around the world every single week, but much like the Partridge Family though, all good things come to an end, and so did Baywatch. Once that attention started to disappear, so did her asking power for more money on future projects. As the money dried up, Anderson was forced to live in a trailer park with her 2 sons because she couldn't keep up the payments on the multiple homes that she had purchased. Thanks to issues with the IRS in 2012, 2 tax liens were made against her Malibu home which forbid her from selling it. The first lien stated that she owed nearly $260,000 in unpaid taxes from 2011, and the second lien from the state of California cited that she owed them over $110,000 for the same year. Not only that, but in 2009, she made the California top 500 delinquent taxpayers list, owing the IRS $1.7 million in unpaid taxes.